Hey guys, welcome to another video. I really appreciate you joining today. Today I wanted to talk about the Great Virtual Race Across Tennessee, or as it was called this year, the Great Virtual Race Along the Trace. Back in 2020, when everything shut down due to COVID, I got into doing several virtual races. One of them that I did was the Great Virtual Race Across Tennessee. Lazarus Lake, who's the one that came up with Barkley Marathons and the Last Man Standing idea, and Strolling Jim, he's been the race director, lots of big races. He came up with the idea of Great Virtual Race Across Tennessee. It was actually a takeoff he does every summer, the last Great Vol State, anyway, there's a race across Tennessee in the summer. It's 314 miles that goes from one end to the other, and I've had several friends that have done that race. A lot of it is most people that do it are self-supported. They're stopping and sleeping in people's yards and gas station parking lots. Sometimes they rent a hotel, but they make the crossing as quickly as they can. Well, in 2020, he did the Great Virtual Race Across Tennessee. It was basically did the same sort of course. It was 635 miles across. You have 4 months to do it, so you just log a little bit of mileage each day until you get across. I think you have to do a little over 5 miles a day. In 2020, I got a little carried away. I was doing a lot of virtual races. I was doing a lot of running. I was a little bored, I think, being at home all the time. And I got real competitive, and I tried to do a bunch of miles in that thing. I ended up covering 1,500 miles. There was a special award if you went across and back. I finished that by August 1st, and then I ended up with 1,500 miles. I kind of actually, after 2020, I was kind of burned out on virtual races. I'm not usually a big fan of them. But this year, with all the things I've been having going on, I was having a little trouble with motivation. I've been trying to get out and run most every day, at least short runs. And I decided back in late April that I would sign up for the Great Virtual Race Across Tennessee again this year. This was the 4th running. Each year, Laz modified the course, so there was one crossing in 2020 across the same course he does the live race. And then he came up with meaningful courses that cross Tennessee each of the last 2 years. I decided to do it this year, and he said he had trouble coming up with a 4th course going across Tennessee that was meaningful. So he came across with the Great Virtual Race Along the Trace. It was, he found this course, that this route that the Kaintuck Indians, that were early settlers into Middle Tennessee, came up with. They would load up all their goods to go sell in New Orleans each year. They would float down the Cumberland River and then the Mississippi, and they would get to New Orleans and they would sell their goods. But then they would walk back, and the route that they walked back was called the Natchez Trace. And it ended up being approximately the distance they would hike from. He ended up drawing a map, 631 miles going from New Orleans up to Nashville, Tennessee, and that's the course we did this year for the Great Virtual Race Along the Trace. This is the T-shirt we got. It's a very bright pink, but it's pretty cool, and that both sides it kind of shows the map and some of the sort of things you pass. It says the back says Great Virtual Race Along the Trace. The front says Great Virtual Boat Ride to New Orleans, because that's how they actually, on the back it says Great Virtual Boat Ride to New Orleans, because that's how they would go there, and then they would hike back along the trace. So this was a run along the trace, virtual. It's kind of cool when you do it. You go in each day and you log your miles. Every time you pass a marker, he's really good about investigating different things of interest along the route, and he'll do write-ups on that the day you pass that, showing pictures from different locations and giving a little flair and description of the area, which is really very interesting and cool. You can also at any time go pull up the map and see where you are along the route. Anyway, my goal was just to get through the 631 miles in the 4 months. I pretty much just kind of stayed on pace. You needed to do, again, a little over 5 miles a day. I think 157 miles a month or something. And I was pretty much just even with that until toward the end of July. And I thought I would get way ahead and finish early because I was doing my 48-hour Texas endurance runs. But I ended up dropping out early in that. Instead of doing, I had planned to do, you know, around 100 miles, and instead I only ended up doing 32. So I basically didn't get that far ahead. Well, I ended up finishing the route about 9 or 10 days prior to the end of August. And then I ended up, grand total was 683 miles by the end of August. So I got to finish. Once you finish, they mail you, it's a belt buckle that shows the route. It shows that you run through Louisiana, Mississippi, a little bit into Alabama, and then up to Tennessee and up to Nashville, so it's a very cool medal. Anyway, it was just kind of a fun event. It's neat the way you can track your progress. You can see things. I think it was $65 to sign up for, which is really not bad considering you get a t-shirt and you get a medal and you get a lot of commentary along the way, and it just helped a little bit with motivation. I don't know if I'll ever do it again, but it was a fun thing to do. Anyway, I just thought I'd let you know and describe the event I did this summer and how it went. Anyway, if you found it interesting, please consider hitting the thumbs up, the like button. If you're interested in more of my content, including mostly my real races or my shoe reviews or things like that, please consider subscribing to the channel. Other than that, I hope you're having a great day. Keep moving.